Good evening and welcome to the Agoura Hills City Council meeting of June 10th, 2026. At this time, please silence all cell phones and other electronic devices. If you wish to speak or submit a written comment, please complete a comment card for each agenda item and submit to the city clerk prior to the public comment portion of the item. I will now call this meeting to order. We're going to start with our land acknowledgement, and we acknowledge that the city of Agoura Hills occupy land that was originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Chumash Nation. Descendants of the Chumash still remain, and we honor and pay our respects to their elders and various groups that make up the past, present, and emerging as they continue the stewardships of our lands and our waters. We have a responsibility and a commitment to elevate the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Agoura Hills, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to live on these ancestral lands. We're now moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. And for the Pledge of Allegiance, I would be honored to ask Las Virgenes Municipal Water District Board President Andy Korodeski. Could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Board President. I will now defer to the City Clerk for a roll call.
Thank you. Good evening. Councilmember Anderson? Here. Councilmember Anstead?
Here.
Councilmember Sylvester?
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Klein-Lopez?
Here.
Mayor Wolf?
Here.
Mayor Wolf, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The City Council recessed from closed session prior to this meeting and will reconvene into closed session following adjournment of this meeting. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Will the makers of the motion and second to approve the agenda please state your names?
Mayor, I would like to pull, I'd like to pull something from the consent calendar. Is this the time that I do that?
We're not there yet, right? Or are we there yet? Help me out. Yeah, can you wait till we get to the consent portion and then we'll go from there? Yes, thank you. So with that, can I get a motion and a second to approve this agenda?
Councilmember Sylvester so moves.
Councilmember Chris Anstead, second.
I will now defer the city clerk for a roll call.
Councilmember Anderson?
Aye.
Councilmember Anstead?
Aye.
Councilmember Sylvester?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Klein-Lopez?
Aye.
Mayor Wolf?
Aye.
Mayor Wolf, you have approval 5-0.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. We're now moving on to the Intergovernmental Special Purpose Committee and departmental reports. Tonight we will be getting a Pure Water project update from the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District Engineering Program Manager, Oliver Slosser, but I do want to acknowledge that we have the Board President, Andy Korodeski, and the General Manager, David Peterson, present tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming. So with that, Oliver, I will invite you up to start your presentation, or your update.
Thank you, Mayor Wolf. Esteemed council members, great to be with you again. It's been a while. Really happy to be here tonight to give you an update for our Pure Water project. We are now in construction in the beautiful city of Agoura Hills and wanted to update you on our progress as well as some items that we've discussed last time that have progressed since the last time that we met. So I'll start with a quick overview. I know you all are very familiar with the project. We can go to the next slide. So just as a reminder, the Pure Water project is an indirect potable reuse project utilizing surface water augmentation. So the intent of the project is to take excess recycled water from our Tapia Reclamation Facility in Malibu Canyon, take the excess water that is not able to be served as non-potable water, send it to a new advanced water purification facility capable of treating up to 7.5 million gallons per day, sending the purified water to our Las Virgenes Reservoir in Westlake, where it is stored and mixed with imported supplies and then retreated through our Westlake filtration plant, ultimately served as potable water, creating our first local source of water and up to 30% of our future supply. We can go to the next slide. So this is just to orient everybody as to the geographic layout of this project. Tapia Water Reclamation Facility at the tail end of that green arrow, sending water through our non-potable purple pipe system to the new advanced water purification facility, purified water going to Las Virgenes Reservoir, and the brine concentrate that is a product of the reverse osmosis process being sent to the regional Cayuga Salinity Management Pipeline. We can go to the next slide. So very quick summary. Please let me know if there's any other details you want me to go over. But the Pure Water project serves many purposes for us. The original driver was regulatory compliance and the requirements of what we can discharge to Malibu Creek. But it really brings a whole host of benefits for the area. The creation of 30% of our local supply into the future, as well as regional partnerships, specifically with the City of Agoura Hills, such as opportunities for stormwater capture and additional utilization of that plant, and really fits into the JPA, the Joint Powers Authority's ethos of bringing our water full circle and using our resources as much as possible. Also just wanted to represent the renderings that we have of the facility. So this is what we're building at 30800 Agoura Road, right down the street. As I'm sure many of you have noticed, we are into construction. We have been doing mass excavation for roughly the last month. And ultimately, this is what we're trying to build, a beautiful building that has been through a lot of architectural refinements and really, we think, reflects the character of Agoura Road and all the beautiful buildings along that stretch. We, in fact, went through a whole process of looking at the other buildings along Agoura Road to really make sure that what we were building was in keeping with the beauty of that corridor and Ladyface Mountain. Next slide is another view of that facility. This would be the main entrance. Really, this facility is going to be focused on creating the water. There will be some administrative areas, but mostly our public outreach after the plant is built will be centered back at our headquarters and our demonstration facility, which the intent is to have that be a learning center moving forward. We can go to the next slide. And one of the big aspects of this project is the pipelines associated with them. So in addition to the plant that we're building, we have 21 miles roughly of new pipelines that need to be built, 14 miles of which is the reverse osmosis concentrate brine line. So those pipelines are being constructed in the City of Agoura Hills, Westlake Village, Thousand Oaks. There's 4 lines being built within the City of Agoura Hills. We have the recycled water line that brings raw water to the plant, the purified line that brings the product water, and the brine line, all exiting from the plant and moving west along Agoura Road. And then there's also a residuals line, which takes byproducts that are created from the treatment process that are able to be sent back to the sewer. That is going east from the advanced water purification facility and will meet up with our trunk sewer system pretty close to City Hall. And that the pipeline work within the City of Agoura Hills is anticipated later in the project, 2028 or even 2029. So we really want to get done with the facility, and the pipelines directly in front of the facility are likely to be at the tail end of the overall project. We can go to the next one. So one of the main things I wanted to talk about tonight is the Agoura Road restriping plan. So and we've worked closely with staff, and I do want to take a moment just to thank the City of Agoura Hills staff. It's been a really great working relationship. There's a lot of challenges with building a project of this size, and the communication, the collaboration has been really great for us. So I just wanted to take a moment to note that. For a lot of aspects of this construction, there are quite a few people needed to build this. And so we looked at a lot of options in coordination with staff as to how to accommodate that parking. Unfortunately, we are not able to accommodate all the parking on site just due to the restrictions of the site, the contours. So we looked at off-site parking, we looked at a new crosswalk, we looked at even a pedestrian bridge. We really tried to look at every option, and what we ended up with in conversations with the city is a restriping plan that would accommodate on-street parking on the eastbound lanes of Agoura Road directly in front of the advanced water purification facility. From this image, you can see the red lines on the site itself. Those are the interior turnarounds and streets inside the facility. So inside that box is where the advanced water purification facility would be. It's also showing some of the contours on that site in the sort of the rainbow colors. And so really what this figure is meant to show is the Yellow area that we would set up directly in front of the site would be for loading and staging and some temporary parking. For the most part, parking would be accommodated from the east end of the site, and the entire area extends about a quarter mile, and that will accommodate about 50 vehicles. There are times when we have more trades on site and there's more vehicle needs. There's other times, such as now when we're doing mass excavation, where there's not as many staff. But this would be a permanent restriping plan that we've been working with City of Agoura Hills as well as the City of Westlake Village to accommodate. Some of the things that I wanted to highlight here, you will see on this figure that it says traffic control. This is not traffic control. This is really a semi-permanent restriping. We're looking at first for establishing this for the first year, and hopefully if everything is successful and the impacts of the community are mitigated, continue that till the end of construction in 2029. But we're going to do a year and then regroup, talk to the city, make sure that everything is running smoothly and that this solution is working for everybody involved. The only traffic control that is provided is when we are impacting other parts of the right-of-way, such as deliveries, or if there's pipeline work crossing other lanes that are open, that would be traffic control. But really what I'm presenting tonight is a restriping plan. We can actually go to the next slide. It has a little more details about this plan. So we submitted our revised plans to City of Agoura Hills as well as Westlake Village. I think, received comments back and are working through those now. We've been through one round of comments, so trying to address any issues with the initial plan developed by our partners Walsh Construction. Tentatively scheduled, we're hoping to perform this restriping at the end of July in 2026, but of course we need to work through all of the details in the comments. We would maintain a 45-mile-per-hour speed throughout on the number 1 lane going eastbound on Agoura. That requires a taper length of about 1,000 feet. Because of where the restriping is, that taper length would be primarily in Westlake Village leading up to the city boundary and up to the advanced water purification site. Pedestrian access remains during this restriping, so that sidewalk is still accessible. It also provides for the single lane that remains is actually a wider single lane and a wider bike lane. So bike traffic, we know how important bike traffic along Agoura Road is, so that does remain during the restriping. We'd have flexible delineators along the taper, and we're working very closely with the apartments and residences along Agoura Road to ensure that there is continued access during all hours for those residences. I might just pause here, but that is the broad strokes of the restriping plan. Again, not planning to be implemented until July 27th. We still have details to work out with staff, but we're very thankful for this collaborative solution for parking for the facility, and believe it's a really good solution in order for us to efficiently build the plant. With that, we can go to the next slide. So one of the other topics I wanted to cover tonight was the public benefit area. As you may remember, one of the principles that JPA adopted when they purchased a site in Agoura Hills is making sure that we are providing a public benefit to the City of Agoura Hills as part of this construction. So from the map that I showed before, our advanced water purification facility is being built on the east side of our parcel. On the west side, currently it's being used for staging, contractor, for warehouse storage. You may have seen the warehouse that's been put up. But once the construction is done, that area is really going to be focused on environmental mitigation. So planting of oak trees, Ojai navarisha, other rare species that were mitigated for during the construction. And then using a portion of that as a public benefit area. In conversations with staff, what the preference that we received was that this should be really highlighting that environmental mitigation, highlighting the city's commitment to environmental mitigation as well, and providing a benefit to folks who use that road a lot, which are the road bikers. So this is a general, at the top of this figure is Agoura Road. The semicircle that you see is right now where the construction driveway is. And so that construction driveway would go back to a full curb afterwards. We built the driveway temporarily for the construction, but it would go back to a full curb sidewalk. And then this would be a concrete carve out off the back end of the sidewalk. We can go to the next slide. It shows a little bit more of what would be provided in there. But What we're planning for at the moment is a bike repair station similar to the other ones that have been implemented throughout the city, a bottle filling station where pedestrians or road bikers can stop and fill up their water bottles. This would be connected to our potable system. This wouldn't be directly from the plant itself as it's indirect potable reuse. And then some signage that highlights the environmental mitigation, highlights the accomplishments of the cities, and gives the public more information about the Pure Water project. There'd also be some boulders and landscaping that would deter people from coming on to the area where that mitigation is happening, where the oak trees are being established. But there would be an area available for the city and city staff to access the parcel behind our parcel, which is city-owned. So there would be access through the site for personnel of the city, but to everybody else, this would just be an area off the sidewalk where they could view this environmental mitigation. I think we can go to the next slide. So these are just some renderings of what that might look like. On the left, we have that bike repair station. Again, we would be working with the city to purchase one similar to, if not identical to, the ones that you already have throughout the city. In the middle is one of those info boards that could highlight the city itself, the project, the environmental mitigation, and on the right, some of the options that we're looking at for that bottle fill station. We can go to the next slide. And then these are just some profile shots of that, some elevation shots of that public benefit area. As you see on the top one, there would be bollards and a chain, but that could be removed for access for city vehicles. And then down on the lower right, an elevation view of that bike repair station. So we'd love to hear feedback from council as to your thoughts, your preferences as to this public benefit area. In our mind, we see it similar to the Bark Park that we have at our headquarters in Calabasas, where ultimately this would be something that would be leased, or there'd be some other agreement with the city so that it would be the city's to maintain. So we don't want to create something that causes a lot of maintenance and it turns out to be a headache. We want to be sure that this is a benefit that we're providing to the community of Agoura Hills. We want to be sure that it's in line with what the council wants and what the citizens want. So any feedback that you have, we'd love to hear it and be able to incorporate that. That construction would be happening in 2029, 2030 at the end once we've vacated that west side of the parcel. So we do have some time, but want to just update you where we are with that. Lastly, I just wanted to cover our programmatic community outreach. So this is a huge part, especially as we get into construction, is reaching out to the community and now specific to activities that they're going to encounter. So I'm not going to run through all these, but this is some of the past outreach efforts we have. I'm sure some of you have enjoyed some of our Pure Gelato and Pure Beer, and our public outreach folks are second to none. They really do an incredible job really educating the community about this project, about the benefits of recycled water. I've listed some of my past appearances with City Council. We also, I know, are planning for tabling at upcoming summer events within the City of Agoura Hills, working very close with Mary and having bi-weekly meetings just to make sure that we're reaching out. One of the main public outreach things I do want to highlight, I think we can go to the next slide actually. So some of the Agoura Hills specific outreach. Today's council presentation in June, this month, we have an info session planned specifically for the Lexington apartments and the Colony townhomes. So this restriping plan will have a very specific impact on them, so we want to be sure that they know who to contact, that they know when this is coming, how they get in and out of their property. It shouldn't be any different, but there'll just be some change in sight lines as they exit the property. But really this is an info session specific to that restriping plan and those residents. We also are looking at an info session in July. This will be more focused on the pipeline work in Westlake Village. So I know it's not technically in Agoura Hills, but obviously will affect your residents. In August, we will be starting our pipeline work starting at Agoura and Lindero intersection and moving west along Agoura Road towards the Westlake city limit. We're also doing a pipeline relocation project. As you may know, we've had some pipe breaks at Agoura and Lindero, so we really have to address that. And so we are moving forward and doing a pipeline relocation along with those pure water pipelines so we can do everything within at the same time with multiple crews and minimize the impacts to traffic as much as possible. We are foreseeing a 6-week closure of westbound lanes of Agoura Road between Lindero and Lakeview, but with a detour down Lindero and back up Lakeview. Be happy to give the council more information about that if you wish, but did just want to make sure to mention that that is a big priority for us as well, as that's going to be very impactful for the community. We're doing everything we can to mitigate those impacts and do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as I mentioned, we're having bi-weekly coordination meetings with public works staff as well as with public outreach staff at the city, making sure that we're communicative of any work in the right-of-way and these major activities that are coming up. We go to the next slide. I know many of you have come to visit. Our Pure Water demonstration facility, we continue to give tours. We are open to anybody who wants to come do a tour. It's been a great resource for us to engage with the community. It'll continue to be a great resource after we build the plant as a learning center. And so if anybody has not done a tour and would like to join, please reach out to me. We would love, I do love giving those tours. We can go to the next slide. We also have our Full Circle podcast. If you haven't heard enough from me tonight, I'm on 3 episodes of that podcast. We are on, we're producing season 3 now. We've had 2 other seasons, but this is where we really do a deep dive, not only in pure water topics, but topics pertinent to the district as a whole. And, you know, for water nerds out there like myself, it really is a chance to kind of get into the weeds as far as water topics. So I couldn't recommend that enough. And then lastly, our design build outreach strategy. So we had a town hall info session several months ago that was very successful, and thanks for the support from the city. We've set up a specific phone number. It's actually on the sign in front of the facility as well. It's up there on the slides. So there is a specific number just for the project, but residents can also just call our general number. Our customer service team is great. They'll get you to the right people. So we have Ariano Associates, a great firm on board to help us with public outreach as well. So we will continue to work with staff if there are any specific things for public outreach that you all feel need to be addressed or could use some more focus. We are always open to that. We want to have a dynamic strategy that really meets the needs of our customers and your citizens. And I think with that, that's all I have. So it's really a pleasure to be with you tonight, and thank you so much for letting me present.
Oliver, thank you so much for all you do. We're so lucky to have such a good relationship with the Water District, and you've just been so phenomenal, seeing it day in, day out on this project and the attention to detail and the community outreach that you've done to Westlake and Agoura. So I thank you for that. I am going to turn it over to council for any comments or questions, but before I do that, I do want to give an opportunity if the president or general manager have anything else they want to add. And if you don't, that's okay, but if you do, love to hear your voice.
Thank you so much, Mayor Wolf. I just, this is the man. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank the City Council for the support and the relationship that you've had with us for this project. It's been over a decade in works, and we couldn't do it. We literally could not do it without you all, and so I appreciate it from my heart. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So with that, do council members have any questions or comments? I made eye contact with Councilmember Sylvester first, and then I'll go Councilmember Ansted.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, the brine, what do they use it for?
So it's discharged to the ocean. It goes offshore about a mile in Ventura County. And
is that the pipe that's carrying it is going to, is it Kuwait?
Callejas, yeah. So,
and then they take it to the ocean?
Correct. They built a regional line as these are more and more popular projects. There's also groundwater projects that create this type of brine, so they created a regional brine line that we're taking advantage of.
Okay, great. And are you coordinating with the fiber optic project at all?
We are. We are in close contact with them just as far as coordinating our construction, making sure that we're not, closing down streets next door to each other at the same time. I believe they may be a little bit before us, but we are coordinating closely with them.
Okay, great. And then my final question is, because we're talking about art in public places right now for our new Lady Faye's Greenway, are you going to have any Are you participating in that program, the city's Art in Public Places program?
I'm not familiar. I'm sorry. Sorry, which program was it?
It's called Art in Public Places. I don't think we have, is Amy here right now? Yes, she is. Is that Ms. Brink?
Well, I'm actually consulting with the community development director, and it's come to my attention that they are not part of that program per se, but I don't think that there's anything that would prevent them from actually installing a piece of public art on their own, and we could include that in our public art program.
Okay, lovely. So I'll let you do that in the future.
When I will say there is a part of the plant itself that has been reserved for a possible later art installation. We haven't decided on what that was and didn't want to have it be part of this contract necessarily, but I do think that opportunity is probably available.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And can we get a copy of this presentation? Can
Yeah.
council be sent it? The PowerPoint? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to having you as our neighbor.
Thank you.
Councilmember Anstead?
I just wanted to commend you for the comments you made on the pedestrian and the bicycle and the water stations too. So I think that all that's fantastic. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Moving to my left side, Councilmember Anderson?
I'll just extend the gratitude. I was telling Mayor Wolf before this project, or before this meeting, that this is my second favorite project. It's almost my first, of course, the wildlife first in my heart. But I am so proud and so excited that you are doing this here in Agoura Hills. So thank you, and thank you for doing it with such grace and such, like, you just epitomize who we are as a community in Agoura Hills in every aspect of what you're doing, and I'm grateful.
Thank you so much. You've two amazing projects in your city. I think it's a reflection on how great the city is.
Mayor Pro Tem?
One question and then a comment as well. Just, can you tell me again, with the parking, with the restriping on the street on Agoura Road, that's all temporary until construction is done?
Yeah, it will ultimately revert back to how it is today. We don't necessarily call it temporary because it is actually restriping and repainting the lines, so it is semi-permanent, I guess I would call it. But yes, the intent would be that it would revert back to what you see today once we're done with our construction, and possibly sooner. We're going through a first year to make sure that everything's working properly. Right. We're hopeful we can extend it through the project, but we'll continue to work with staff.
Okay, so, but the idea is not to have that number of cars at that facility overflowing onto the street for
No, once a facility is operational, there's on-site parking. There's very minimal staff to actually run the plant, so all parking needs, once it's an operational facility, will be on-site.
Great, thank you. And then, yes, I just want to also say that this, we're so proud that Agoura Hills is home to this incredible facility. I was speaking with a constituent just a few days ago who told me he literally, the thought of drought and running out of water and the risk that just the existential risk that is for humanity literally keeps him up at night. And I brought up this project as saying, look, we're working on it. This is for our survival, for our health, for everything, for our future, for our kids, is the ability to function, and we need water, and we need reliable sources to be able to do that. So this is something that is so beyond even just this one project. It's a model for our society to go forward, and I'm thrilled that we're on the front lines of that. So thank you for keeping us up to date.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more.
And building off those comments, not only are we home to it, but we're an active participant in this project with our dry weather diversion that is going through. Where's Charmaine? Yeah. We are going to be turning our runoff and rainwater into recycled water in the very near future, and in the future into drinking water. And I think we're the first in the region that is committed to that. And so I could not be more excited.
Very excited about that partnership myself.
That's
yeah.
Thrilling. So with not hearing anything else, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Really.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yes.
With that, moving on to our next intergovernmental special purpose committee and departmental report. But before we hear from Mayor Pro Tem Klein Lopez, I want to take a second to acknowledge her 2 years serving as board chair of the CPA. It's California's fourth largest energy provider, serving 3 million residents, 38 communities in Ventura and Los Angeles County, where she served 2 terms as the board president. So Let's give her a round of applause for her time. So I'd love to hear your report, and then I might defer to council members if we have any questions or comments on it. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Why, thank you. I appreciate the recognition, and I hope you'll allow me a moment to reflect, as it was a very impactful experience for me that I was able to do on behalf of the city. So wrote up a couple comments. After 2.25 years, so I started early because my predecessor termed out of office. So after 2.25 years, my term as chair of the board of Clean Power Alliance is coming to an end. This role has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my career, and in many ways it feels like a full circle moment because I advocated for Agoura Hills to join Clean Power Alliance before I was even elected to the city council. So to later serve as chair of the board of the organization was particularly meaningful. During my tenure, so the 2.25 years, Clean Power Alliance, just going to give a couple stats. We brought on 1,400 megawatts of new renewable energy, 500 megawatts of new energy storage. We issued $4.9 billion in renewable energy prepay bonds, which will save our customers approximately $38 million annually. We expanded service to 6 new cities, and we continue investing in local clean energy and customer programs for tens of thousands of customers and member agencies, including Agoura Hills. And so beyond the stats, a few highlights for me during my tenure. I had the opportunity to visit major renewable energy projects like the massive solar and battery backup sites we have in Antelope Valley, and was able to travel to the Sunzia project in New Mexico, which is the largest wind farm in the Western Hemisphere. I'll remember celebrating Winter with graduates, and Winter stands for Women in Non-Traditional Employment Roles. Seeing them graduate, seeing how workforce development can create real opportunities for people while supporting the clean energy transition. And of course, I'll remember traveling to Sacramento and Washington, D.C., advocating for community choice energy during some of the most challenging periods that our industry has faced. And most importantly, the experience has reinforced my belief that Clean Power Alliance is a model for what government can be. It is efficient, innovative, fiscally responsible, and focused on delivering real results for the community that it serves. I'm very proud that Agoura Hills was an early member of Clean Power Alliance, and very proud of the role that our city has played in helping make it such a successful organization. So I want to thank my fellow council members for appointing me to this wonderful board, and it was definitely a great honor to serve as the chair of this amazing organization. So thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, any council members have any questions and or comments?
Of course we do.
Oh.
Mayor Pro Tem Klein Lopez, thank you for your dedication and service. So not only are you a mom, active in the community, serving on this city council, the 2.5 years you spent as chair, I know the amount of time that you spent in that, and all of those statistics about what happened in those 2.5 years, 2.25 years, was not by accident. It was because of your leadership, your dedication, and I am so proud to be a part of a city council that has you as a leader in this phenomenal organization. It is of a piece of the Pure Water District and just a sign of who we are as a community, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sylvester?
I second everything Councilmember Anderson said. Thank you, MPTDKL.
I will say there's a lot of acronyms in the energy industry, so that tracks.
We really appreciate everything you've done and made our city at the forefront of all of these new programs that are coming through. So thank you so much.
You.
And I want to thank you because CPA is moving the needle. It's actually making a real difference. And it's something that people might not know a lot about, but it actually is moving the needle on our clean energy future. and you were at the forefront of that. You were at the tip of the spear, and you put Agoura Hills on the map in a good way. So we're so thankful for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me those comments.
So with that, are there any other reports from the City Council? Are there any reports from staff? We'll now move on to public comments. This section is reserved for individuals wishing to speak on items that are not listed on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. If you have materials to distribute to the council, please do not approach the dais. Instead, provide them to the city clerk for distribution on your behalf. Public testimony is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and a speaker's time may not be transferred to another speaker. Written comments submitted by individuals may not be read aloud by another speaker. Individuals addressing the council shall refrain from disorderly conduct that disrupts or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. I will now defer to the city clerk for public comment.
Thank you. The city did receive written correspondence from Doug Crushon, Agoura Hills, that was forwarded to the city council and will be part of the record. And we do have a speaker, I believe it's Christine Richardson.
Hey, Christine, come on up, and I'm just going to read this. Welcome. Thrilled to have you. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. There's no green light, but your time begins when you start speaking. When the yellow light comes on, you have 30 seconds to finish before the red light comes on and your time is up. Please adjust the microphone and begin whenever you are ready.
Thank you. Thank you, City Council and staff. I'm very new to this whole scene, but it's very quickly become apparent to me that you guys don't really hear from us, the general public, until they're angry or, I just wanted to come up here and say thank you. You guys have done an amazing job with the CWRA and the CWPP. This is actually in response to the May 13th meeting where you didn't receive any support in public comment. So I am here officially to give that public comment support because having this plan is better than no plan, and I am very grateful for the work. And Kimley Horn doesn't look like Matt's here today, but I wanted to thank him as well. He did an amazing job. So thank you, and we look forward to working together to get everything going on the evacuation plans.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to come out. Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
No further speaker cards.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to the consent calendar. This section is reserved for persons wishing to speak on items on the consent calendar. I will now defer to the city clerk for public comments.
We did not receive any written correspondence, nor do we have any speaker cards.
Are there any questions from the city council on the consent calendar?
I do not have a question, though I would like to pull item 6 from the consent calendar.
Okay, great. So, can I get a motion to adopt the consent calendar with item 6 pulled for discussion? And I will now make a call for a motion for that.
Councilmember Sylvester so moves.
I'll second. Deborah Klein-Lopez.
I will now defer the city clerk for roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Aye.
Councilmember Anstead.
Aye.
Councilmember Sylvester.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Klein-Lopez.
Aye.
Mayor Wolf.
Aye.
Mayor Wolf, you have approval, 5-0.
Great, thank you. So, Councilmember Anderson, I'll now turn it over to you for discussion of item 6 on the consent calendar.
Would it make sense for me to make a motion to approve that, or discussion first and then to? Okay, so thank you, Mayor. I asked to pull item 6 from the consent calendar, not because of lack of consent, but in fact because of resounding support and enthusiasm. Item 6 is to adopt a resolution recognizing June 2026 and future years as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning plus Pride Month in the city of Agoura Hills, and then directing staff to fly the rainbow flag at the Agoura Hills Civic Center throughout the month of June. And I wanted an opportunity as a council member to say I am so proud of Agoura Hills for the 3rd year in a row flying that pride flag. This is a time in our country, and frankly, it is not a new time, there's an intense criticism, there is an intense fear in this country, across the world, for folks who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning plus. And I am so proud of the city of Agoura Hills that no matter who you love, no matter how you identify in this world, we are a close-knit community, we are a welcome community, we are a affirming community. So I just wanted an opportunity for us all to be able to say that out loud. And I also want to add that I will be hosting, along with some of my fellow council members and former council members, a picnic on June 27th, and welcome anybody that is interested in coming, and they can reach out to me for details.
Thank you, council member. Is this time to call for comment? Do any other council members have any comments on item 6? Mayor Pro Tem?
Just a thank you for pulling it so we have the opportunity to highlight that we are the only city in the Conejo Valley that flies the pride flag. And as my colleague mentioned, I have seen you at the various pride parades and pride picnics around the Conejo Valley, and it matters. We have residents from Agoura Hills and the community who come up to us, who thank us, and who say that this is not just a gesture, but really a sense that they feel home in our community. So it does matter, and I'm happy that we are doing this again. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sylvester?
I second everything my fellow council members have said. I think it's really important that we show leadership here, and not only for our adult residents, but also for our teenagers who are in a position where they're questioning who they are and what they will be in the future. So I'm so glad we all support this 100%. And I missed that big giant one, flag.
Well said. Councilmember Anstead?
I also just want to say that I'm definitely supportive of this measure and look forward to voting yes.
Great, thank you. And I appreciate the work, Councilmember Anderson, and very eloquently said by my fellow council. I'm proud that we are leaders in an opening and welcoming space here in Agoura Hills. So with that, I will call for a motion and a second to adopt consent calendar item number 6.
Councilmember Anderson so moves.
I'll second. Deborah Klein Lopez.
We'll now defer to the city clerk for roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Aye.
Councilmember Anstead,
Aye.
Councilmember Sylvester,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Klein Lopez,
Aye.
Mayor Wolf.
Aye.
Mayor Wolf, you have approval 5-0.
Thank you so much. Now moving on to public hearing item number 9. Our next item is to conduct a public hearing on vacancies, recruitment, retention efforts relating to Assembly Bill 2561. I will now open the public hearing and defer to Assistant City Manager Ramiro Adeva for the staff presentation.
Thank you so much, and good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the Council. As explained in the Council report, Assembly Bill 2561, AB 2561, enacted in California in 2024 and effective January 1st, 2025, addresses the issue of staffing shortages in local public agencies by promoting transparency and accountability in workforce management. The bill aims to ensure that local public agencies proactively address staffing challenges by fostering transparency, encouraging employee engagement, and facilitating informed decision-making to enhance public service delivery. The bill acknowledges that high vacancy rates can lead to increased workloads, employee burnout, and diminished public service delivery. It emphasizes the importance of public access to information regarding agency employment practices. The key provisions include a requirement for annual public hearings. Local public agencies are mandated to hold at least one public hearing each fiscal year to present the status of job vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. This presentation must occur before the adoption of the agency's final budget. Enhanced reporting for high vacancy rates. If an agency has job vacancies equal to or exceeding 20% of its authorized full-time positions, the agency must provide additional information during the public hearing. Although the city's current vacancies do not meet the 20% threshold previously described, in an effort to provide complete transparency, the following information is being provided. The total number of vacancies. At the time of this report, the city has 2 vacancies, which is less than the 20% threshold as outlined in AB 2561. The vacancies are for the full-time position of associate planner and land use technician. The next is the number of applicants for positions. The city has received 4 applications for the associate planner position and 2 for the land use technician. Please note that we just opened these recruitments last week. The next one is the average time taken to complete the hiring process. The city's hiring process is approximately 9 weeks from the opening of recruitment to a tentative start date, which breaks down as follows. The first 4 weeks is to open and then to close the recruitment. The next week is for candidate selection. The next week is for interviews, and then there's 3 weeks at the end for reference, background checks, and then officially the job offer. And the last is the opportunities to improve compensation and working conditions. Since the city does not have a union, during every 2-year budget cycle, the city invites employees to discuss compensation, health benefits, and other employee benefits. This concludes the presentation, and I invite any questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to public comment, does any council members have any questions? So not seeing any questions, the public hearing is open. I will now defer to the city clerk for any comments.
Thank you. The city did not receive any written correspondence, nor do we have any speaker cards.
Thank you. So we're going to close the public hearing, but do any council members have questions? Nope. There being no further questions, I will now close the public hearing. Staff has requested feedback on this item, so I will now call on each council member to... Staff have any feedback on this? Any questions or comments?
No feedback, Mayor Wolf, but we just wanted to provide the report to you.
Okay, so no formal action is required on this, and I believe we have completed our requirements on AB 2561. So now let's move on to our next item, which is discussion and action item number 10. Before we begin consideration of the next item, I will defer to Mayor Pro Tem Klein Lopez.
Thank you. Mayor, I will be recusing myself from agenda item 10, leaving the dais out of an abundance of caution. In connection with agenda item 10, which involves a discussion regarding community placemaking efforts, and as required under Government Code Section 84308, I am disclosing that I received a contribution of over $500 to my campaign for state office from a potential participant. As defined under the Levine Act, within the last 12 months, the contribution was from Kelly and Carla Kimball and V2, which are tenants, not landlords, in the areas where you will be discussing. So again, out of abundance of caution, I'm going to be recusing myself from the report.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So our next item is an update on the economic development concept plans. I will now again defer to Assistant City Manager Ramiro Adeva for the staff presentation.
Thank you so much, Mayor Wolf. And again, good evening to you and the members of the council. We're really happy to be here tonight to provide this update. Happy to be alongside my colleagues over here as part of the economic development team as we're presenting the update on the concept plans that we've been working on diligently for the past probably 6 to 8 months. This will obviously mark a sort of a close to the contract portion of work that we've been currently working on with RRM, and they've done great work for us that you'll see here in a moment. But before we get started, I just want to introduce you to the team. So for the general public, we have our Director of Community Services, Amy Brink. We've got our Communications Manager, Mary Haddad. We have our Director of Community Development, Robbie Nesevic. We have our Senior Planner, Angela Georgieff, and we have the one and only RRM representative, Nick Deitch. So we are all here to, again, give the update on the economic development and particularly the concept plans that we've been working on. The next slide. Okay, so this is the agenda for today. We're going to have go over the purpose and the background, obviously to sort of set the table and let everyone know, kind of bring everybody up to speed. We are going to go over talking about the study area and the vision. We'll walk through some key opportunities, and of course with every opportunity there's going to be some challenges and some constraints. We're going to talk about the implementation strategies, touch on stakeholder partnerships and community engagement. We'll give a visual on the concept plan and then end with the recommendation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Amy Brink.
Thank you, Romero, and good evening, Mayor and honorable council members. Over the last couple of years, the City Council prioritized and increased its efforts on economic development, specifically introducing the concept of community placemaking. Research, discussions, and initiatives have been at the center of supporting efforts to explore opportunities for creating a vibrant community gathering place and destination within Agoura Hills. Before we start down this path, though, let's briefly look at how we arrived here. Not too long ago, the city embarked on understanding the issue of an increase in vacant office space, particularly along Agoura Road. We needed to know why there were so many vacant buildings. The conversations quickly pivoted to how do we activate those vacant buildings and the spaces surrounding them. It was clear that after COVID-19 pandemic, office space and in-person working environments were forever changed, and realizing this, what could be and what could be next here in Agoura Hills. This evening, staff presents to you a comprehensive report that includes engagement efforts, ongoing discussions with property owners, businesses, and community stakeholders regarding opportunities to activate and reimagine portions of Agoura Road. Staff will be looking for the City Council to absorb this vision and the idea of community placemaking, to review the report presented, and to provide feedback regarding future activation and implementation strategies on not just one building or one property, but to envision a corridor, or as we refer to it, the Agoura Road corridor. Understanding the concept of community placemaking, getting caught up in activating spaces and providing experiences, elevated discussions, and put something on the table that was actually more corridor focused. The discussion now becomes, let's talk about how to activate, repurpose it, and how to create a destination. So we have to start somewhere. That's where our study area comes in, and we start with our vision. Focus is now on key office properties along Agoura Road. This has been the catalyst for our broader corridor revitalization or destination discussion. We are also going to look at an expanded corridor vision. And when we talk corridor, we're talking all along Agoura Road, from the east end to the west end. We focused in on vibrant gathering space that would feature dining, entertainment, cultural arts and recreation, potential entertainment opportunities, but most importantly, we're going to focus in on a space that will offer what you know is near and dear to my heart, community connections. To tell us a little bit more about this and how we're going to approach this, I'm going to now turn it over to Senior Planner Angela Georgieff.
Good evening, Mayor Wolf and members of the council. Tonight I want to highlight the key opportunities and some of the challenges that are embedded in the concept plans. While this vision is high level, staff has focused on balancing immediate quick wins with a transformational long-term strategy. Some of the key opportunities, let's start with the short term. We want to activate the site immediately. We can transform underutilized parking areas into vibrant public spaces through temporary outdoor events and pop-up retail shops. Looking long-term, our goal is to build connectivity and community. We want to establish seamless pedestrian links between the sites and introduce new dynamic land uses not allowed under current zoning. Ultimately, both our short and long-term goals center on creating a destination, whether that means hosting seasonal festivals or expanding existing suites with outdoor dining patios. We want to give people a meaningful reason to gather here. Next slide. However, to make this vision a reality, we must navigate several critical constraints. First, and most importantly, the city does not own these properties. We do not have final authority over what is proposed. Second, the current zoning presents friction. For example, if a developer wants to introduce housing, it will trigger a mandatory general plan amendment and a zone change. Finally, infrastructure and market alignment pose challenges. While structures like the Pennymac building are in excellent physical condition, the current space configuration may not align with today's market demographics. Any future development will need to address these infrastructure adaptations. We are incredibly excited about what this site can become, and we look forward to working through these challenges to unlock its full potential. I'm going to pass this on to Robbie to discuss some of our implementation strategies.
Thank you, Angela, and good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. As everyone can see, we have a lot of people up here that are super excited to share this economic development vision as kind of our first step. And based on the citywide retail market assessment prepared by Cosmont Companies in 2024, we know that residents in the city are hungry for gathering spaces where they can eat, drink, have fun, and find an even stronger sense of community. And at the same time, we are seeing a problematic amount of vacancies in existing office buildings, not only within the study area, but also extending west along the north side of Agoura Road all the way to Westlake Village. And at the same time, the state is mandating that local agencies zone for an unprecedented number of housing units. Now, some people might say, Robbie, those all sound like bad things. Why are you so excited? And what I would say in response to that is that it's incredibly rare to have such a complementary blend of problems. We have office buildings that are overparked and hungry for adaptive reuse that are facing the beautiful Ladyface Mountain, providing a great opportunity for resident serving commercial uses and gathering spaces. We also know that a thriving economic hub wants or even needs nearby rooftops to support frequent foot traffic. This unique set of circumstances presents an endless amount of opportunities for what the future could hold for this area. So tying this all back to implementation strategies, we really didn't want to let this opportunity lose momentum. And so with guidance from the Land Use and Economic Development Subcommittee, the team developed some possible short-term and long-term strategies that could help implement the vision of the concept plan. In the short term, as Angela already mentioned, we have begun working on some zoning code updates that will incentivize adaptive reuse of office buildings in the city. We have also explored and could allow for temporary activation of underutilized parking areas under an administrative review, reducing short-term timing, cost, and permitting barriers while exploring long-term land use strategies and while those are implemented. We also suggest conducting an area-specific market analysis and parcel-specific opportunities and constraints analysis in the near future to assist in long-term planning strategies. As far as long-term planning strategies along the corridor, our general plan already considers the possibility of a specific plan. A specific plan is a detailed planning document that bridges broad area-wide goals identified in the general plan with specific development criteria that guide development projects. A specific plan would allow us to address long-range planning issues such as area-wide connectivity, development incentives, potential housing locations, a flexible mix of allowable uses, an arts plan or district, and more. If considered by the City Council, the development of a specific plan would take at least 2 to 3 years and would likely run concurrently with or just before the 7th cycle housing element. This would allow us to use properties within the specific plan area when identifying future housing opportunity sites to meet our RENA obligations. Whether we choose to implement some or all of the short-term and long-term implementation strategies, stakeholder and public engagement would be critical. And with that, I will pass it off to Mary Haddad, our communications manager.
Thank you, Robbie. So in the last 6 to 8 months, as Ramiro mentioned, to say that we've had dozens of meetings with real estate professionals, property owners, I think would be an understatement. We've had meetings, I would say, every week now leading up to this presentation. And we've heard a lot of interest and excitement from those stakeholders, including those who are employees within some of those buildings who we're hearing are commuters from outside of town, coming to town looking for something to do after work, and also from families who've been keeping up with the project through our public meetings who've expressed excitement as well. And this outreach has, although it's been very focused on these meetings for us to really understand the space and the span of this concept plan, we're excited for next steps in expanding this outreach to residents, our community organization, arts groups. I know we've already heard from the Cultural Arts Council on their excitement around this project, and really defining the vision with the community hand in hand through various workshops and charrettes and different ideas that we're already exploring given council's direction tonight. And potentially we've looked at other communities who've taken on similar projects in redeveloping spaces into these gathering spaces and visited those sites and took inspiration from those. So we're excited to keep that engagement as well as we learn from subject matter experts on lessons learned and things that have worked for them. So we're looking forward to utilizing some unique outreach opportunities such as temporary activations to understand who might work best within those spaces, pop-up events, and pilot programs to speak to existing but also new business owners who are maybe looking to call Agoura Hills their home and fit into this space. So we're really looking forward to that and look forward to council's direction tonight so we can best plan ahead for that community engagement. And with that, I'm going to pass it to RRM, who's really taken the lead on the photo you're seeing here. And yeah, Nick, take it away.
Good evening. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I want to say that the engagement with staff has just been really energizing. A lot of creative energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I also want to say that this is not a unique problem. I'm sure you're all aware, and the pandemic was mentioned. And by the way, I'm going to steal Robbie's introduction about this wonderful complementary collection of problems. I think this is what we're encountering, and it's a good thing in the long run. The pandemic clearly shifted a lot of our patterns. I had never even heard of Zoom prior to the pandemic. And then suddenly, realizing that we didn't have to get in our car to go to work every day was a game changer. I still like going to the office personally. One of the photographs showed the parking area, and I have to say it's probably one of those beautiful parking lots that I've ever stood in. It's full of trees, it's full of shade, it's seasonal. The setting is really remarkable. The idea that we could transform that space into something that the community could celebrate and enjoy is just really exciting. The office building that's sitting empty is a marvelous building. It's really well built. It's a high quality building, but it isn't doing what it was supposed to do. That is an opportunity, and I think we've had some really interesting brainstorming conversations within the team about how to engage with the owner and with potential users about cultural arts facilities and other things. The long-term opportunity, and I'm a placemaker and I can't help it. I was given this site with a piece of property in the middle of it, and I started looking at everything around it. That whole stretch of land is disconnected. You have to pretty much, if you work in one building and you want to go over to where maybe the restaurant is on the other, you're going to get in your car and you're going to go find a parking space and you're going to have lunch, get back in your car, and go back to where the offices are. And I know we've had a lot of conversation about the idea of Agoura and the concept of Agoura Hills being a village. And what does that really mean to us? What is a village? I think we all have, when we talk about a village, we all have something in our minds that is kind of wonderful. And I think that the community would really like to be there, would like to do that. And I think this opportunity is a way to plant some seeds, because I believe that what we do here will inspire what we will do in Agoura and other places, but also, this is starting to happen in many, many communities, and it's very exciting. I wanted to mention just one small, and I really appreciated the agenda item that was pulled and the heartfelt commemoration around that. The idea that we might have inclusionary housing on this site is a newly emerging trend over the last, less than a decade. And for me, what I see about that is we're used to planning our communities where the people of wealth live in this area, people kind of in the mid-range live in this area, the people who maybe need affordable housing are going to be over here somewhere. And when we build projects like this that are relatively dense, mixed-use, inclusionary housing, guess what? Those people all live together. It's astounding. And we haven't really been able to experience that. And we're doing this in other communities, and there's just a tremendous amount of energy around that. So I can go on. We're looking at Agoura Road when we talk about, what's happening there. How do we enable bicyclists to actually use the road safely? I've used the term car tolerant. We're basically car dominant right now, and not just in Agoura. This is Southern California, probably the United States. We're car dominant. What if we start to move towards car tolerant and really focus on creating places where people are going to be comfortable and they're going to be able. We've looked very closely at the connection between the Civic Center and this property across the street, and how do you get there? And the community center that we have, which is wonderful, and the hotel. I was in an event with the Chamber of Commerce a couple months back, and I realized at the hotel, if I wanted to go to the City Hall or the community center, I had to walk through a parking lot. There isn't an actual path. So it's exciting to engage with staff and engage with some of the property owners who I think really need some stewardship here to help you all imagine what this could be transformed into. And I think it's a really, really wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
And I have to take this opportunity to really commend Nick and his team. I mean, it's been an asset to us, such a blessing to have experts in this space. And I know that many of you are familiar with the work that RRM does, not just in our local area, but really across the region. And so, having Nick and his team be a part of this team has been such an asset for us. And I think what you're seeing is a lot of kumbaya up here because there is a lot of excitement around this, right? And we've long talked about how do we make Agoura Hills a destination spot. And that discussion and where it goes to really starts with visionary things like this. And so, equally commending them, I want to commend the council as well, because this goes nowhere without your continued support. And so you have, from the very beginning, given you alongside our city manager have really given us the direction to really kind of take these conversations. And I can't begin to even go into the many, many conversations and the different audiences that we have spoken to. And even though I started this whole thing off by saying it's really the end of this contract work with RRM, it's truly the beginning of something, though, right? It's something bigger, something more that we need to do. And this really kind of just gives us a little framework to understand where the goal is, where the finish line might be one day. And so it's just been a tremendous, I think, experience so far. And we're all very excited about, what lies ahead. And so we're here to just really kind of, again, bring you up to speed on the concept plans, and you can really see kind of how the puzzle piece that is more specifically the property across the street kind of fits within the greater scheme of the entire puzzle, right? And that's the whole corridor, as Amy mentioned at the beginning. That's been the driving point, the root of all of this, is trying to figure out a way that we can really look at these deficiencies that exist within the corridor and look at them as opportunities to make them something that the city can be proud of. And so we're really excited about it. And that takes us to our recommendation slide. And really, I'm just going to read this for the record, but it's to receive and file the community placemaking vision document. We're really looking for, you've always provided great feedback for us, so we'd be looking for, you to provide feedback regarding just the overall vision and concepts and potential opportunities that were identified in the document. Just if you could confirm your interest in continuing to explore opportunities to activate and enhance the corridor, through ongoing discussions that we'll need to continue having with property owners and businesses, investors, stakeholders, and the list goes on and on. Direct us to continue evaluating short-term activation opportunities, partnership opportunities, and potential implementation strategies that further the city's economic development and community placemaking goals. And then, of course, to direct staff to return to the City Council as appropriate with any recommendations regarding future planning efforts, market analysis, funding opportunities, and other actions necessary to advance the long-term vision of the corridor. I guess in a nutshell, we just want to know that we're doing what the council pleases, and that you want us to continue down that road, and then to keep coming back and informing you and updating you as we move along. And when there's action items to take and budget requests to make, we'll be back here doing that then. So we very much appreciate your time, and we look forward to having a discussion with you tonight.
Wow. Incredible. Thank you so much. A lot of good vibes tonight on that topic. So before we move on to public comment, does any council members have any questions of staff?
How quickly can we get this done?
So is that a question on timeline?
Well, actually, I mean, it sort of is in some ways. Like, I was joking, so amen to everything that you said. Like, I wanted to record I mean, you epitomize what we are looking for in Agoura Hills, and I'm so grateful, again, with the gratitude, to have that. We've got this dream team up here. So I sat here full of excitement. I read this thing with a whole lot of joy and excitement. And so, yeah, genuinely, like these temporary activations, I think about this wildlife bridge. What I hear is that we've got a groundbreaking, a ribbon cutting on December 2nd. Could we have that beer garden up and ready? Like, could we have a big old party over there by then? Like, how quickly can we do these temporary activations? And then I am genuinely curious about some of these zoning changes and being able to do those, and how quickly can we get those things done?
I'll start with the first part of that, and then I'll look to Robbie for help. But I mean, as far as the temporary activations part of it, that's we do have exciting yet complicated discussions, right? Because of the variable that we don't own the property, and so. With that said, I mean, I think it's safe to say that the discussions we have had with the property owners have been optimistic and have been collaborative in terms of when we bring up things like doing some temporary activations, starting to try and rebrand the site so that in the near-term future, are there ways that we can do some of these temporary uses and start to get people excited about coming to the space and start to get that ingrained in their minds about what could be at that site and really looking at it as a destination spot. I believe, and Robbie can correct me if I'm wrong, but that the current zoning, at least in that regard, does allow for some things to be able to happen in the short term. Being able to put an exact time frame on that, I'm not too sure of, but we are in a position from a temporary standpoint to hopefully, along with, and again, this is speaking, for property owners, that we hope that they stick with the whole cooperative mindset that we've been having. If they're on board, then we can make some things happen. And obviously that takes planning and a bunch of other coordination things, but we're optimistic about that. As far as the long-term things that require legislative actions, like you mentioned zoning changes, I'm going to hand that over to Robbie to address.
Yeah, Ramiro's absolutely correct. I think kind of the first step, what I would say, is to kind of see exactly what we're dealing with in terms of opportunities and constraints of all of the different properties in the corridor. Getting a market analysis done, and just really seeing what the baseline information is so that we can know what are the uses that we want to incentivize, and figure out like a real plan for the future. And then once we have that baseline information, kind of figuring out what we want the strategy to be. What do we want to move forward with a specific plan? Do we want to move forward with individual rezonings? It's up to the council, obviously, what you decide to do. But anything that involves rezoning is also going to require property owners to be on board. Obviously, a lot of community engagement, and I think that it comes at an opportune time right now. Also, when we have the 7-cycle RENA coming right around the corner. And if we have all of these going concurrently, then we can kind of use this as a strategy to meet some of our future housing obligations as well. So it's kind of good timing.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Anstead?
Are we going to have comments?
Yeah, this is questions, if you have any specific questions.
I have no questions. I'm just dying to get to deliberations.
Yeah, understood. I have a specific question regarding some of the could any of this be done piecemeal? Like one of the buildings has full occupancy up until 2029. So could we look at, starting on some of this stuff while one office building stays leased, and there might be that office, they might renew their lease. So like, is it an all or nothing, or can this be a piecemeal type of?
It can absolutely be piecemeal. As Ramiro was saying, the existing zoning allows a lot of things. I would say one of the only things it doesn't allow currently is housing. So if somebody wanted to go in and propose housing on one of those properties now, it would require a zone change. So that's where, with the housing component and really tying everything together with the connectivity and all of that, that's where kind of the longer range planning needs to happen in line with the 7th cycle.
And then regarding that, in the 7th cycle, the direction we are giving tonight is to look at this as a possible opportunity for housing in the future.
That's correct, and that's mostly because if this is primarily an exercise for economic development, but in order to have successful economic development, you need the frequent foot traffic as well. So it's kind of it's an opportunity to knock out many birds with one stone.
And when we are talking about this project, the one thing that there's the core component and then there's the extended part of it. How much, I'm trying to think of the right way to word this, but the main focus is the core component with, how are we articulating how we're viewing the whole corridor? Like, what's a succinct way to say, like, are these the main opportunity zones and then there's the possibility, we're just keeping an eye on the other office buildings, I forgot the terminology that we use for the other opportunity zones.
Yeah, well, we started, so the reason why it kind of keeps on expanding is because we initially started off with the original study area. And when we started off with that original study area, we got a whole bunch of interest from different property owners throughout what we're now calling the corridor, which is the area north of Agoura Road, really from the study area all the way west to the Westlake Village city limits, because all of those properties are having tenant vacancy issues. And so that's what we're really calling the corridor, is really that strip of office properties north of Agoura Road.
And so you said west all the way to the Westlake City Westlake, but also the one property to the east of it that has the two offices.
Yeah,
as well.
correct. That's the Hankey property.
So that's the like kind of the start of it is the Hankey the Hankey property all the way to Westlake.
That's
correct. Okay, but for purposes of kind of tonight, the study zone, the study area is the main focus.
Yeah, I would say that's the general concept plan. That's what we focused our connectivity and our placemaking document around. But there's nothing to say that it has to be limited to that in the future, because this is just a placemaking document with guiding principles, so we can extend those same principles to whatever area that we want in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you. That concludes my questions. Councilmember Anderson?
Yeah, actually, your questions reminded me of another question I have. So as Mayor Wolf said, one of the things that I'm also interested in is looking at the possibility of adding housing here in advance of the 7th round of the housing element. And the question I have is around evacuation analysis. Part of why I'm interested in this is my gut sense, and my poor geographic skills, but decent geographic skills in the sense, tell me that this is going to be a safer place for us to have housing than some of the places that we might have on our current housing element. And I would love some science to back that up. So I'm curious where that could potentially come in.
What I'll say is that if there were residences in this particular area, or really just commercial uses in general, and the individuals that would be frequenting these sites, they would potentially and most likely be evacuating onto the south side of Reyes Adobe Road instead of Canaan.
Right, so that says to me that your gut sense matches my gut sense. And there are experts that do evaluation analysis. So I'm curious, is there a world where we do some kind of an evacuation analysis in conjunction with this to say to ourselves and to say to the community, we are proposing to put housing here as opposed to other places because scientists tell us, people who've studied this tell us, that it will lessen the evacuation risks that we have.
Absolutely, and it would actually be good practice to do that. If we're doing these things concurrently with the housing element, it's good practice to, as you're rezoning properties and planning for future uses and things significantly change, then we would update the existing analyses that are in our safety element.
Seeing or hearing no other questions, I will now defer to the city clerk to see if there's any public comments.
Yes, the council did receive a written correspondence from Mary Weisbrock, Agoura Hills, representing Save Open Space Santa Monica Mountains. It is included in the record, and we do not have any speaker cards.
Fantastic, thank you. In that short period of time, are there any other new questions from the council members? With that, we'll move on to deliberations, and I'm going to start with Councilmember Anstead. So I apologize, all the A's on the
Sorry,
bookmarks.
could I ask, since I was on the
I
subcommittee?
apologize. I will turn it over to Councilmember Sylvester because she was on the committee that reviewed this.
Thank you. And I would like to acknowledge the contributions made by MPT Deborah Klein-Lopez, who really was instrumental in instigating this whole project in the first place. And I would like to thank Ramiro for stepping up when we made these demands and running with it and creating such a brilliant team. I mean, we're a small city, but we're mighty, and we've got some very inspirational leaders on our team. So thank you to Amy, to Mary, to Robbie, and to Angela, and of course, RRM. So I've just really enjoyed being on this subcommittee because I feel I'm working on a committee that everybody's going to be happy about. You know, I hope nobody's going to complain about it because we're coming up with some wonderful ideas and all different kinds of ideas for the arts, you know, for places for families to gather, for more interesting, hopefully commercial spaces and also housing spaces. And as you said, inclusionary for everybody. And I'd love to see some kind of center too, where we don't really have any center in our city, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, for those with special needs, adults with special needs and things like that. Do we have one in our city located at this point? I'm not aware of it. So it would be lovely to have a center for people to come of all abilities. So that's another thing I'd love to see, you know, because this is just wish list. And I'd love to hear from our residents about what you would like to see, because this is your opportunity to get involved and come when we have our public workshops, to give us your input of what you want to see there. So I just think it's inspirational. I'd just like to thank the whole team for what you've done so far and for what you're going to be doing in the future. So I'm all for approving all of this and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your work on the committee on this. I know that there was a lot of meetings on this, so I'm glad that you let us off. Now I'll go to Councilmember Anstead.
Also would like to thank Councilmember Sylvester for her work on this committee. I think it's, and also the staff. I think it's great. I think it's a great concept. It happens to be, the other thing is I noticed there's a little bit of similarity between the Thousand Oaks, and I don't know if that's from Assistant City Manager Ramiro, Adeva, or who that might be coming from, but I know there's some, because they have kind of a similar thing where they're trying to do an outdoor area right next to their city hall, and it has a lot of similarities. So if you haven't checked it out, I think we should check out theirs as well. And so I really like the concept of the outdoor activities. And the reason why I like that concept is I think when we talk about the Wildlife Bridge on December 2nd with the dedication that's in Agoura Hills, it's a perfect time to basically brand Agoura Hills the outdoor mecca to come to. And so I really like anything that we can do outdoors, outdoor amphitheater, get there by bicycle, and also try to figure out ways to create on Agoura Road how we can keep traffic flowing, but also at the same time create more pedestrian and bicycle lanes there to be able to people to get there without having to jump into a car. So I think all those are all great concepts. So I like all that. And then I also like the thing that Councilwoman Anderson brought up about the housing in certain areas of this as well, that if we are able to maybe rezone some of the areas in the housing area, I think that would be a much better place than maybe some of the other areas that we've designated in the past for housing. So I like both of those things. So I think what you've done so far has been fantastic, and I think keep on going, and I hope we can get somewhere where we can actually make this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Anderson.
Echo everything my fellow council members have said. Gratitude to Mayor Pro Tem Klein-Lopez. Gratitude to Councilmember Sylvester. Yes, this is absolutely a happy thing to be bringing forward. So yes to all of the things, Ramiro, that last slide you put, oh, that, yes, 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 yes. And I will also say, I think it's probably in there, that expanded preferred concept. When this was first brought up, my only, not even hesitation or reservation was like, that it was just so isolated. So I think we do need that longer and lots of trails and paths and ways to be able, and it is gonna then mean an expanded concept beyond that site. So we had to start somewhere, we did, and let's go bigger.
Thank you. Yeah, great work, everyone. But I do want to say that this was the easy and the fun part of this, and now the hard work comes. And I don't want this to be like a document that we're proud of and then sits on the shelf and then we come back to it every once in a while. I think what I'm hearing from my fellow council members and from staff, from the council, is that this is something I think that we need to aggressively be moving towards because the market forces are moving that way, the timing is working that way. Regarding the 7th cycle, this is a perfect opportunity site for housing. It checks so many boxes that the timing right now is so perfect, and we don't want to miss this relatively small window of opportunity that we have. And so what I don't want to see is that we pass this tonight and then we just move on and it was like a fun project to go through. I want us to be aggressively working towards the goals that are laid out here, and I know that we will do that. It checks, I said this is the second time saying this, but the housing opportunity is so important here. The community space is so important. The gathering space is so important. It's an existing footprint, and we have so much opportunity. The way people work has changed so drastically in the last 6 years. With COVID, there was a big push in the 80s and 90s to build all these office buildings, and now we just don't need them. The needs have shifted, and so I just want to emphasize that I love this, but I do want us to aggressively go after this and not let this just sit. So thank you for the work done on this, and I'm excited to continue chipping away at this aggressively in the very near future. So with that, I will now call for a motion and a second to approve the staff recommendation. Will the makers of the motion and the second state your names?
Councilmember Sylvester so moves.
Councilmember Anstead, seconds.
I'll now defer to the city clerk for roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Aye.
Councilmember Anstead.
Aye.
Councilmember Sylvester.
Aye.
Mayor Wolf.
Aye.
Mayor Wolf, you have approval 4-0.
Fantastic. Great work, everyone. At this time, I would like to invite MPT DKL to join this meeting. Yeah. Anyone know? Thank you. Okay, are there any comments from staff? Amy?
Thank you, Mayor Wolf. I just want to remind everybody that this Sunday, June 14th, we're kicking off our summer events. We have our first summer concert in the park featuring our Lynyrd Skynyrd cover band. Same as every year. Concert starts at 6 o'clock. Food trucks will be out there, I think, starting around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you, and it does kick it off. We've got the movie the following week, and then not too far off is going to be our amazing drone show on Sunday, July 5th. So I want everybody to mark your calendars. Concerts start this Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from staff? Are there any comments from the city council? Your mic's on. No comment? No. Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I would just like to remind, if there's anybody out there listening to us, that we do have a new e-bike regulation. I talked with some young gentlemen this afternoon in one of our parking lots, and they were completely unaware. There were 2 young gentleman on one e-bike, and I reminded them that that's completely illegal, and please go home right away. Gently remind your children, if you have children on e-bikes, that they're no longer allowed to ride them on the sidewalks. They have to ride them in the bike lanes. They are not allowed to have a passenger on the back of their e-bike. That is totally illegal. And they're not allowed to ride them in our parks. So thank you very much for that.
Well said. Good point. Okay, so the next regular city council meeting is scheduled for 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June 24th in the council chambers. We will now adjourn the meeting and we will recess back into closed session.